Look at that. I've seen 109 movies that came out in 2021. I've seen so many movies that I wanted to make videos discussing them. And what better place to start than with a top 10 best and worst list. I'm waiting for Belle to come out where I live, so I decided I'd do a worst list first. So, here are my top 10 worst movies of 2021. Now I'd like to note, this list is entirely based on my opinion. If you like any of these movies, that's great. I'm glad you could enjoy them more than me. Now I have some dishonorable mentions. The Protege, Hatched, Injustice, The Curse of Humpty Dumpty, and Ape vs. Monster. Now that I got those out of the way, here are my top 10 worst movies of 2021. Number 10, Dinosaur Hotel. This film was just boring. The characters were bland morons and the acting was very stiff. Also, for a film called Dinosaur Hotel, there were hardly any dinosaurs here. To make matters worse, this film had the nerve to rip scenes straight out of Jurassic Park. Number 9, America the Motion Picture. This film was just underwhelming. The jokes got old very fast, the pop culture references made me want to be watching those instead, and the R rating didn't help. Also, the soundtrack choices were baffling. And to think, Lord and Miller had their names attached to this film the same year they gave us The Mitchells vs. the Machines. Number 8, A Loud House Christmas. While it was cool to see how the characters looked in live action, and the film captured the show's charm, this film was a very unfunny and predictable snooze fest. Not helping was that Lincoln was turned into a selfish, entitled jerk. I'll just stick with 11 Louds a leapin'. Number 7, Tom and Jerry. I thought we were done with live-action movies featuring animated characters in the big city. Anyway, while the animation was decent and it had some nice nods to the source material, it fell for the traps of many live-action hybrids before it. Not helping was the toilet humor and the fact that the film isn't even about Tom and Jerry. And the hip-hop soundtrack got old very fast. Number 6, Night of the Animated Dead. This film is an animated shot-for-shot remake of the 1968 classic Night of the Living Dead, except the animation looks like that of a YouTube Flash film. This film is just lazy and ugly to look at. The voice acting is also very bad, which is even more baffling because a good chunk of the cast has shown they are capable voice actors. And to make matters worse, this film didn't even credit George Romero. Speaking of needless remakes, number 5, He's All That. I haven't seen the original She's All That, but I can tell it's already better than this remake. This film is yet another gender swap remake, but it didn't take advantage of the genders being reversed, which is a shame because it had the elements. Instead, we got a boring rom-com that at times felt like a commercial. Number 4, Thunder Force. I have nothing against Melissa McCarthy, but she really needs to stop with these comedy movies. This film was just boring and painfully unfunny. There was no chemistry between her and Octavia Spencer, and the film was just cliched. Melissa, please just stick with the dramas. Number 3, Karen. This film feels like an SNL sketch got a movie, which the movie even had the nerve to be self-aware about it, but not in a clever or charming kind of way. This film had no subtlety and couldn't decide if it wanted to be a so bad it's a good film or a serious film with commentary. So, what could be worse than Karen? Well, number 2, Great White. This film was just every shark horror film before it. The scares were underwhelming and the characters were unlikable idiots to the point where you just wanted them to get eaten. I am sick of shark horror movies, especially ones with great whites as the antagonist, and this film is the perfect example why. How about some shark films where they are the protagonist for a change instead? And my number 1 worst movie of 2021 is... Cinderella. This film was a pain to sit through. The characters were one-dimensional, the jokes were awful, and the songs were just lackluster covers of classics. This film did nothing creative or original to stand out from the past countless Cinderella adaptations, except trying to be hipper and modern, which negates the whole point of a timeless tale. I never felt greater joy than being done watching this movie. This film alone has killed any hope I have for future Cinderella adaptations. So those are my top 10 worst movies of 2021. What'd you think of my list? What movies weren't you too crazy about? Please share with me in the comments down below. With that being said, thank you so much for watching.